Good evening. This is a facilities meeting of the Bridgeport Board of Education. Today is Wednesday, September 3rd, and it's 5:37. I'm Jen Perez, committee chair. We have committee members Andre Woodson and Albert Benahan online. Willie Medina, board member online. Different board members. All right. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from May 7th, 2025.
So moved, Mr. Benahan.
A second? Will be seconded? I'll second. Any discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There. I'm gonna say Joseph College has joined the meeting. I think that's it, right? The board members? All right. So the first item on the agenda is a review of summer projects.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start off by welcoming back all of the students, the teachers, staff, parents to the district. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank the facilities team for all of the hard work this summer. From the opening of the new BASIC to completing so many projects and getting the schools done a week early, in spite of having such a short staff, they really stepped up and did a tremendous job. And we're going to go through some of what we went through this summer. So we've created PowerPoint. Want to be visual on what we did because I think it's impactful what we've been able to do this summer. A lot of this is with the reserve capital that we're able to put aside, along with new capital. From when ESSER came out, we sort of shifted our dollars, which gave us the ability to go ahead and have a truly impactful summer in spite of budget and everything else. So we'll start with the first project, which is the Beardsley School paving. We were able to pave the lot. The lot was in terrible shape. There were some safety concerns, and we put a premium on safety in the district. So we were able to repave and restripe the entire lot over at the Beardsley School. Second project, Halland School restroom upgrades. We're able to renovate the first floor bathrooms. Those bathrooms are in tough shape. Years ago, we had infiltration of water coming into the side of the building. We did a tremendous amount of pointing work along with waterproofing. We're able to make the building watertight. And this is just an evolution of us continually making strategic investments in our buildings. So we're able to renovate the first floor bathrooms. We do have some residual cash left over. When we bid it out, the bids came in a little bit high, so we didn't want to take on more than what we had in our budget. But we came in spot on in our budget in this project. So we're going to go ahead and renovate the second floor bathrooms. We're working through the planning and the scheduling of all of that as the days go on. Elevators have become one of those hot topics in the district, but this summer we're able to modernize Reed School, Dunbar School, and the JFK admin building. So these essentially are new elevators in these buildings. But we wanted to touch briefly on some of what we're experiencing in this vertical of what it is that we do. When it comes to elevators, the parts have become problematic to get. We've been reaching out to our vendors, and the lead times are tremendous. And at times they're not even able to give us lead times because the lead times keep changing from the manufacturers to the folks that actually get the parts out to us and do the installations. With that said, we are meeting tomorrow, Friday, I'm sorry, with our current vendor who did all of our work this summer to have a deeper conversation on how we're going to close the gap on the elevator repairs that are needed, what we need to do to ensure that we have common parts in stock, and that we're able to close the gap on elevators a lot faster, understanding that's a hardship to the schools. So another aspect of that is from the management team perspective, we're going to start managing elevators the way we manage HVAC, where we put everything on a spreadsheet, we manage it granularly, we're meeting on it weekly, and we're discussing where we are. So there's no slippage on our end to ensure that we're staying on top of everything that's going on in this vertical of what we do. JFK pool. About 4 years ago, we had to decommission the Blackman pool due to its age and the fact that all of the equipment is in the lower level, subterranean level, and all of the plumbing in crawl spaces, and over time, with the corrosiveness of the chlorine and the chemicals, we had to decommission. So we wanted to double down on the last pool that we had in Bridgeport, the JFK pool. So this summer, we're able to complete what we deem a renovation of that pool. We had come to you guys for a bid, and we contracted someone to scrape and repaint the ceilings of the pool area. We had to drain the pool, scaffolding and boom lifts were brought in. They scraped, they pulled down old rivets, and they repainted the ceilings. But last summer, we had done some substantial work there. A complete new HVAC package was put in place for dehumidification and being able to manage that environment, so we don't have a repeat of Blackham. Years ago, COVID didn't call for these things, but times have changed. We also replaced the pool heaters, so that now is a completely renovated pool area and in good standing. And we are opening the pool for the usage of the school 6 to 6 and the parks department for swimming lessons. Playgrounds. We came to you guys with a couple of playgrounds some time ago for approval. We're to complete those programs. The first is the Discovery School Outdoor Classroom, which is completely phenomenal. If you remember, that was replacement of the existing outdoor classroom was there. Tree fell down, so we reinvented. We put it in a different location. Due to the location, there's some shading. We didn't have to have the expense of an awning over the top, but the space is beautiful. The feedback has been tremendous. And then the JFK playground. This is the playground at High Horizons. Last year, we did the playground and 2 outdoor classrooms. We did the playground for multicultural, and then outdoor classrooms for each school. We circled back and completed the playground for the High Horizons school. So now they have new playscapes, and we're going to be completing the fencing around this playscape. It took us a little bit of time to get the POs back, but now we're in motion, and we will be finalizing that project with the fence, and that'll be complete.
I just say about the playground, I visited High Rise on the first day of school when the kids were coming in, and that was one of the first things I heard. One of the kids, they were excited about the new playground. But the playground's done.
They love it, and the challenge for us is always keeping them off of it, because we need a 3-day curing time for the pour and place rubber. We typically have to post the SRO up over evenings and into the early morning to make sure we're keeping the children off. But we're super excited to be able to create these spaces and be part of that academic experience. Carry Out School. We did the rooftop. We did the gym floor. We did a gym floor resurfacing, and we're replacing the HVAC. HVAC is right around 90% done. Ventilation is up and running. This was a substantial project. I got to tip my hat to my counterparts on the management team for managing this, driving this schedule, keeping this budget as best in line as we possibly can, because there were a lot of moving parts. We had a gaping hole on the side of the building most of the summer, but we're airtight, ready to go, and we're finalizing that program. This was something that was needed because in this school we took the old Roosevelt chillers and HVAC equipment and repurposed it. We're masters at repurposing, and it was well past its useful life, but we had got some mileage out of it, and now we have a state-of-the-art HVAC system. Another project that is ongoing is the Central Gymnasium for the Hilltoppers, because I know Willie and Jennifer are Hilltoppers. This gym is iconic to Bridgeport. And I've been trying to get this done for some time, I'm not gonna lie. But we were able to secure the funding through the city council, through capital. That program is probably about 75 to 80% done. As you can see in the photos, you've got some pictures of when they were tearing up the old flooring, and then you've got some photos of when it was just the concrete slab. We did run into a couple issues on that project. One was humidity. The other was that we had a leak that was a stubborn leak for us to find. We actually had all our trades on the rooftop, and we were able to solve that. We had to put down a vapor barrier, which was a change note to us. But now the subfloor is down, and they're going to start putting the planking down soon. And this is just one of several renderings of what the gym floor may look like. We'll be working with the central community to sort of lock that down and create that final rendition of it. But this is an exciting project. And this is gonna complete sort of the renovation of Central, because this is one of the items that was taken out due to budget constraints when they did the renovation. Now we'll slide over to the work orders, the summer cleaning and landscaping. Once again, I gotta tip my hat to the team. It was a lot of work this summer, a lot of shifting of priorities due to, having to do some things to move folks from Vastic and, having to drive the scheduling on the custodial due to shortages. We ran somewhere in the 120s, in terms of staff. Typically, we need a staff around 180 to really manage the district. But believe it or not, these folks, we had a meeting in the beginning of the season, and it was a rally call to everyone to step up. We know that we have this hurdle in front of us, and everyone stepped up. They got done a week early. The landscaping got done. I took my hat to the logistics team, they wear many hats. They were able to get a lot of things done. We used some outside resources, and everything came together. And it was a good sense of the accomplishment in the beginning of the school year. First couple of days, we got tremendous feedback on what folks had walked into in terms of our facilities. So you see the boom lift. We did some pointing work at Central. Typically, when we rent out a piece of equipment, we try to tackle as many projects as we can. This was one of about 4 or 5 projects, I believe, that we were able to handle while we had the boom lift out for a week. And then the unforeseens, the things that come up during the summer that you just don't see coming and hit your budget like a ton of bricks. And this is the JFK multicultural magnet. There was a leak. The leak did some damage to some shelving in millwork and art room, I believe. We were able to this summer work through, put in new millwork. This cost us right around $10,000 to $15,000 of unforeseen dollars. And those are the things that we're never prepared for, but we're always ready to handle on the drop of a dime. And I tip my hat to the team for that. Trailers, as many of you know, I've been harping on trailers for some time. Trailers are made for 10 years. We've had them for 30. And they're in terrible shape. We've got to start to strategically look and make decisions. I've already had conversation with cabinet and with PJ about, looking if there's the potential of us shifting any classrooms and trailers into the school proper so we can start to decommission. We had to decommission last year, the carry out trailers. This year, we've had to pretty much start rebuilding a couple other trailers, Black being one. As you can tell, we had to put a new decking and stairs. The skirts are problematic. We've had to start to replace those. And once you start to take these things apart, you start to find a myriad of issues. But the team has worked diligently, and I tell you, I pushed the carpenters this summer like never before. This is probably one of the toughest summers we've had in a long time, and those guys worked their tails off to get it done. Park City Magnet is another example of us having to rebuild. This took up most of the summer for the carpenters. Blackham, we got done in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. This Park City Magnet, as we started unraveling, it was just more and more work, subfloor, skirts, ramps, stairs, decking, you name it, we replaced it. Now it's a safe environment for the students, but it came with a lot of pain. We're able to also replace the gym doors. The gym doors that we used to replace this were reused gym doors from another school that we decommissioned over the years. Once again, we're wizards at reinventing things. Training, consistency is key for us, especially with a smaller group. We put a premium on investing in our staff. We had to provide spaces for our trades and custodians. There's slip, trips, and falls for all custodians. The Comfy Clean Refresher is our clearinghouse for all cleaning, so everyone is cleaning the same way in our school system. And then we have all of our regulatory stuff like the OSHA bloodborne pathogen, the OSHA GHS, HASCOM. All those things are now completed, and we're completely in compliance right now. And then, a snapshot of our annual regulatory testing and inspections. We're going through our hair inspections. We're about 90% done. I think we have 2 schools left for hair, fire extinguisher inspections, sprinkler inspections, fire system inspections, and PCB. We had to spend some money on PCBs. The levels weren't off the charts, but they were slightly elevated. There's things that come up when it comes to regulatory that we have no wiggle room. We have to just address them. But we are super excited to be able to sit at the table this year to be able to discuss the budget and create a budget for facilities. Because these are the things that we don't get the chance to talk about on the financial end of it, but the impact of this is tremendous and we want to be better prepared for the future. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Jamie McCarville, who will be discussing the old Bassett, and then Michael to talk about the stark difference from the old Bassett to the new Bassett.
Good evening. The old Bassett High School, we are still in decommissioning mode. Most of the moving has been completed. There are a few departments that still need to move some items out of the building and into other facilities within the district. But most of the items have been removed or moved to the new Bassett. Cleaning has been completed, and any items that are left inside the building currently, we're going through a checklist to confirm that they can be auctioned. And the auction will probably, once we confirm all items, take place in a few weeks. After that, any items left, we're going to discuss whether we can repurpose them, recycle them, or discard them. And I think in a few months, we'll be turning it back over to the city. We are in the works discussions to have a last walkthrough with council, alumni, any community members that would like to tour the building before we turn it over. And currently, recently we had a walkthrough with the school building committee chairs to show them the difference between closing and decommissioning Harding years ago and now decommissioning the old Bassett.
Let me just touch on that briefly. I mean, what happened at the old Harding, obviously, want to make ensure everyone that, we've reinvented how we decommission buildings, understanding that we have several projects in the hopper and we are intending on going after more projects. I think the collaboration has been something that, is promising for the future. Departments handle the business, folks were responsive, and we're able to get to the point we are. And I'm proud about the work that's been done. I can't say enough about the work that Jamie's done and the team to get us to the point where, we feel comfortable where we are with Bassett. And then Michael discuss the differences of the two.
Good evening, everybody. Yes, Bassett. The old Bassett is basically state of the art, and the new Bassett obviously is state of the art, being brand new. The HVAC system in the old building basically consisted of a person turning a switch so that the boilers were on or the boilers were off. That was the control. A person turning a switch or the occupant of a room opening a window. Now, of course, there's a complete HVAC system where there's about 10 sensors and controls on everything in every room. So just as a forewarning, so to speak, future maintenance issues and costs will be much higher for new Bassett versus old Bassett. And I did a rough estimate today based on other buildings and just electrical costs for new Bassett. I'm predicting about $575,000 a year compared to $200,000 a year old Bassett. So we're looking at almost 3 times the cost of electricity. And I didn't have the chance to look up on filters for all the air handling units. Old Bassett has about 3 small air handlers. New Bassett has about 15 that are about 4 times the size. So the cost of filters will also be greatly increased on new Bassett versus old. That faulting new Bassett in any way, shape, or form, but these, the cost will increase, and I hope they've been taken into account in budget, or we will certainly be taking them into account, preparing and working with the business office going forward. And even just the number of windows and amount of windows in old Bassett versus new, the time that custodians are gonna have to spend cleaning glass, keep new Bassett looking shiny and new, is increased. And we're doing everything we can to decrease it on utility fronts also. We received a couple of contracts today, or well, not a contract, but proposals for upgrading steam traps at Park City Magnet, Reed, Blackham and Hooker schools to increase the energy efficiency there. We've been working with UI with incentives and rebates in order to get these projects done. And, you know, we're working on the paperwork part of that now. So we are also doing what we can to decrease utility costs in all of our schools now that the LED lighting upgrades are completed in every school. Then going on to heating and additional energy conservation projects.
I can't say enough about the work that Mike is doing with energy conservation. I mean, you know, we have to think outside the box and how we approach the day-to-day now. You know, even when it comes to the cleaning of the new basket, we have 2 automated auto scrubbers in the building. That essentially gives us the same amount of work as a FTE. You know, in no way, shape, or form are we trying to replace our folks, but you know, we have to find creative ways to have a healthy and safe environment. You know, and the work that Mike has been doing with the utility, there's no CapEx out of pocket. So, you know, we're doing work that we're not spending any dollar on. I mean, it's amazing what we've been able to do with utility and been partners, and we continue to develop and grow that partnership. So upcoming projects that we will be bringing to the board soon. You know, the 6 to 6, well, believe it or not, we managed the 6 to 6 capital in the business. And you know, we have to replace that elevator, another modernization. You know, we're working now with the attorney's office to get contracts. Once those contracts are created, we'll bring those to the board. And then playgrounds. We have Madison School, Hooker School, Park City Magnet, and Reed School will be replacements. But this is capital. One of the things that me and Jamie done recently is that we work with OPM and City Finance and City Council. We scraped a lot of our old accounts in capital that we had completed those projects. We had done a good job of keeping on the budget, understanding that we can repurpose some of those dollars. So we have a little bit of money that we're going to be able to repurpose. So the projects that you see in front of you right now are projects that are already funded through capital, but with some of the residual dollars, we I can't say enough about the New Life and grants. You know, they have really done a good job to bring us some substantial opportunities that we have jumped on and we're exploring. And one of those is a play, I think it's called Playtime grant, which gives us the ability to get 50% of a playscape. So what we're gonna do is we have we've already had a site visit at Bryant. And then we're gonna be doing a site visit of Dunbar if it hasn't already been done. I'm not sure if Alan was able to get that done today, but those 2 schools will be able to get 50% in grant, and then we will be able to fund the rest with some of those residual dollars when we came with the budgeted projects. So, you know, we're tackling an area that, you know, we want children to be outside and have a great time, but we want to be safe. And all of these projects are essential for the safety of those. Grants, we've talked about this in the past. This is like Jason Voorhees and Friday the 13th. This project has died and come back several times. And finally, I think we're on the road to now start get contracts out there. I know that our partner, UConn has awarded a contract on their end for Lorero Group to help us to now develop specifications, and we will do our part and implement, get RFPs out and start to get this work done. But this will be transformative for the district as we'll be creating smart schools. But once again, we're tackling the big ticket items that, you know, if they fail, the district will be struggling to pay. So we'll be working on that. And we look forward to continue to work on some other grants. There's some non-priority list stuff. So when we think about the facilities master plan and that huge number, you know, we've got strategies that we've been working on in parallel when that started. And now we're starting to look at how we develop those dollars to be able to start tackling that. So there's 2 different opportunities. There's a DRIP grant that, you know, there'll be some automatic funding coming to the district. We will allocate all of those dollars. It's dollars over 2 years. I can't remember the dollar amount. We'll be discussing that with you guys in future committee meetings. But with that said, we are also looking at non-priority. Non-priority is, you think of the school construction where you have a reimbursement. I believe that this grant, we can do the non-priority, rooftops, HVAC, air conditioning, and you don't have to put it on the priority list. And I believe there's no reimbursement. So we are gonna go fast and strong and build out as many projects as we can, to see what their tolerance is because the district needs it. The final piece of this all is, we have our approved capital for 2026. And the projects are Marin Gym floor replacement, the Barnum Playground, we're gonna be resurfacing that, Black Rock exterior doors. We're continually looking to do exterior envelope work. So when we do our energy conservation work, that holds true and we really realize those savings. The Clater Playground resurfacing, that's another safety hazard. Columbus sidewalks that will encompass the whole stairwell in the front of the building that's failing. Columbus HVAC, cross HVAC controls, continuing the chill beams over at Fairchild Wheeler, Highland boiler replacement, Butler boiler replacement, JFK high rises exterior doors, the nutrition roof, and that will allow us to do some solar work there also to drive costs down. Reed exterior doors, south end HVAC controls, and then some selective asbestos abatement, JFK and Breed School. And that concludes our report. And I want to finish by saying thank you to the board for having faith, making all the approvals in a timely fashion. And you guys allowed us to get all of this work done in summer. Any questions?
I just want to thank you and Jamie and Mike for coming in and sharing all this. This is like amazing work that your team, 120 staff members were able to do this throughout the summer. It's great work. I have a few questions and then I guess I'll take them to the committee. Just like, how many schools right now, if you have off the top of your heads, have elevator issues, like non-working elevators?
Right now, we have Barnum Walsville, which is the main crux of our meeting. Clater was down also. They were able to get that one up and running. That was a programming issue. It's the physical parts that need to be replaced. So at one point, the elevator had, I believe at Barnum, was it, that got stuck? Barnum elevator got stuck. Fire department came in. They were a bit impatient. I get it. Someone's stuck. You want to get them out. When they maneuvered the door open, they did some damage. Doors are extremely difficult to get in the elevator world. And then the Walsonsville, we executed that. And this is, I feel bad for the guy meeting on Friday. We executed that, I believe in May, June, for those parts. There's no excuse. I understand that there's issues but these are critical items, so we're gonna get to the bottom of that. But those are the two that are currently down.
The JFK or the Blackham, it's decommissioned for good. Cool.
So I'm meeting with a group of philanthropists that believe strongly in swimming. They've done work in a lot of big cities. They want to do something in an urban district. They funded up to $8 million for the building of a new pool. I'm meeting with them, I believe, Friday or Monday. And I'm hopeful that maybe we can come to some sort of an accord where they help us rebuild that Blackham pool. So, there's some folks that I believe that, we've gone through the audit, we've gone through the budget stuff, and people are actually reaching out now and asking how they can help.
Yeah. And then in terms of that, since Blackham is on that facility master plan, that list, if you did invest money into that, would that be touched if we get a new building for Blackham down the line?
So if we weren't able to lock in a deal to get something done immediately, long term, yes. The city may have to, we're gonna have to negotiate what the reimbursement rate will be on the pool, because it's not typical. But one way or another, we gotta get that pool up and running. So we'll fight for that.
And then. Oh, and then I took so the cost of utilities will go up for this the new high school basic. Have we looked into like for new projects? I know LED lights have been installed and everything like that, but I know you've done doing this, but like what are some other you rephrase that question, what are some other energies like alternatives have you looked into?
So we've been exploring battery storage. We've even looked at the potential of a cogen or a microgrid at JFK. Years ago, we looked at a cogen over at aquaculture. Right now batteries seem to be stable enough where there's a potential there. We're exploring that. Me and Mike visited, one of the local battery manufacturers, out in Danbury. So we're still exploring that. There is some funding that's out there that we're exploring now. But you know, there's different opportunities that we're gonna keep going, and tackling. We wish we had a little more horsepower on that side. Mike's doing that work by himself. But, you know, I help out when I can. But he's been doing a tremendous job, and our savings over $1 million, in the last few years, so. And our new buildings are built to LEED standard, so everything that we put in has to be as energy efficient as possible, sort of like, you know, like your home when you buy new appliances.
Mr. Benjamin?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I have some question for you, Mr. Garcia. You hear
Sure.
me very clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, the first one I'm gonna ask you when you do the presentation about Highland School. Did, the way you show us the Highland School, the bathroom, are there a handicap for students or any events or parents, you know, any pack, you know, school have, PTS or whatever, are there a handicap?
Yes, sir. The ADA compliant.
Okay. I know you said something about the pool and just listen. The pool will be, I'm gonna ask you just in case, will be to rent it for outside, for people like to training or do competition, stuff like that?
I actually had that question too.
So yes, we've had partnerships in the past, and we do have requests for rental. One of our renters is, Parks and Rec. They do the lifeguard training there. They also have, swimming lessons there. In the past, we had a partnership with Sacred University. So yes, it's open. We're ready, to potentially build some revenue so we can start to fund the pool through its rental like we sort of do with our fields now.
Okay. And I see that you talk about the playground. Do you have the chance to see the playground from Dunbar School?
Yep, Dunbar School, I believe, was visited today or will be tomorrow. That is part of, a grant that we applied for and received. We're working through those details now. Myself and Jamie were able to reallocate some surplus dollars in capital. So we'll be able to, we have the match. We've met with, the grants department, the finance department. We're ready to roll once we get these final documents up. And then we'll be bringing that along with the other playgrounds that we have capital to the board for approval so we can, get to rocking and rolling on that stuff.
Great. I just want to let you know this for the record. You know the former Mr. Hernan, right?
Yes.
Okay, he's working with the company. He's the one help us for the boot bag on that Saturday. He will contact you because his company want to help you with the playground. So he will
Yes.
contact you. He will try to do something because his business is about next to Dunbar School and his business like to help the students from there.
We welcome the support. If you have his contact info, we'll make contact immediately.
Yeah, I was saying. Korea School, you were talking about the gym. When I went to visit the gym, the school, sorry, with Mr. Plana, the gym was not ready for the kids using. It was something in the middle of the gym trying to fix the roof, you know, and not the principal stop, you know, not using the gym. They really done with that?
Yeah, so that we're finalizing that work. When they did all of the HVAC work and the duct work and then all of the equipment starts to be fired up, there was some dust that was on the duct work there. So we went ahead and erected scaffolding and we used an aerial lift to clean that stuff. I believe it's done. And if it's not done, it'll be done this week. But it was something we needed to get done and we just ran out of time. I pushed these gentlemen and these ladies and men this summer like never before.
And also when me and Mr. Plana, we opened the door, I feel like I was in sauna. It was hot, that building. Like, I'm, oh my God, how come our staff and students and whoever can work there? I was there and I walked a few classes with Mr. Plana and the principal, and I was sweating. I'm like, I cannot believe this room, the whole school, it was hot. So what is the plan for for the AC for that school, please?
They have a brand new AC that's going in. We're about 95% complete. There's some wiring that needs to get done. There was an RFI, which was a request for information from the contractor on site to the engineer that designed the system. That has been answered. They're working diligently on that now, and we should see completion in the near future. They'll have a brand new HVAC system. Over the last 2 years, they've had sporadic AC at best. So they're gonna have a brand new watertight roof. and a new HVAC system.
And also in the back of the playground, I don't know if they remove it. It was a, you know, the metal dumping, you know, the throw garbage. Have they removed that?
That's been removed.
All right, thank you. You were talking about the trailers, and from the school. How strong they are? You know, how strong they have, you know, sometimes, you know, past the years, something's wrong.
I mean, you know, every time we touch something, we've got to repair it. You know, they're in tough shape, but unfortunately, a lot of the schools that have trailers have issues in terms of capacity. One of the things that, you know, in our grant discussions and in our current reviews of those grants, there is the potential for new trailers. So, you know, we've got to just do that work. You know, right now we're finalizing the summer work, this tranche of projects. We're creating the other tranche of project for money that's in the bank. Once we're done with this project plan out, we will start to look at that non-priority list opportunity. And if we can replace trailers, we will. But I did discuss with Mr. Carafa and Cabinet today about the potential, if there is the ability to shift those classrooms that are in trailers into the school proper, then we could just decommission and you know, sort of get away from these trailers. But, you know, right now we're safe, but, you know, we can get a call any day that there's an issue, but we're ready to respond on the drop of a dime.
And the wood, the stairs, that wood is, you know, they're strong enough for the, you know, different weather, especially when they come the winter. We don't want somebody fall or something happen. So I'm asking for it.
So everything is done to code and everything is pressure treated for the environment. You know, we replaced the stairs over at Park City Magnet and at Blackham and replaced the ramp at Park City Magnet. We feel good about the work that was done, but you know, this is a district that hasn't had much investment. You know, we're not only finally getting capital, but you know, we're actively getting out there looking for every dollar that we possibly can to close the gap on all these issues.
And when you talk about the training, how long they take your staff take that training? How many times in the year?
We do it every summer. So when you're onboarded, you have to sit down and do the training. And everyone, when we first implemented the system, everyone had to take the training themselves online, take the tests, pass the tests. And then now we have refresher courses every summer to ensure that everyone is on the same page and that any changes in the industry are captured in that training. So for enhanced sanitization or new methods of cleaning, or if there's a shifting chemicals that we use, we address all of that every single summer. And then we have the regulatory training that is mandated by the state and the federal government that's completed. And then, you know, we have, you know, we work closely with PMA. We have a safety committee, and we work closely with PMA to go ahead and have those enhanced trainings like aerial lift, forklift certifications, you know, confined space, you know, all of those things. So, you know, we have a highly trained and effective staff.
Thank you. And I know Jamie was talking about the old Bassett High School. They did I know she said something, but I didn't hear it clear about the antique stuff, the stuff they're supposed to take it to the new Bassett High School. They really did that?
Yeah, so Dr. Riola had a teacher that he put in charge of that. So that is one of the activities that they were handling. But I believe everything has been transported to the new school and they're gonna start to display that stuff. So timing
I'm
was a
asking
big issue
because
for us. There were a
I
lot of
asked
things
because
going on in the
I
summer.
remember. I remember I was there with you, and then because I know we really take pictures, you know, antique stuff like a plaque and lamps, you know, stuff like that. They remember school, you know, that remember
Yeah.
Bassett for so many years. The locker they have the old Bassett High School. You can do some sales or something like that because I know they're metal, so you can save money with that.
So they are on an auction list. So, you know, hopefully someone will purchase them, whether they purchase them right under scrap pricing, or if they decide they want to reuse. For us, there's not enough value for us to move those somewhere else. But you know, we're hopeful that someone will purchase them.
Thank you. And I don't know if she was clear to say walk with the building committee. They're gonna do another walk with the building committee to with the old Bassett.
We walked with the chairs of the building committee. They wanted to ensure that, you know, as we transition to the new Bassett, that there wasn't gonna be any hangups to the old Bassett. So we walked the two chairs, both co-chairs through for an in-depth walk, and you know, they were happy with what they saw in terms of the preparedness for turnover.
Okay, me are part of the building committee, and I know Ms. Paris too. We would like to work with you guys because I know it's part of building committee to see what's going on. You know, not only two people run the building committee, it's a group.
Yep, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. Understanding full schedule and trying to just make sure that in the condensed time frame of scheduling for us that we had folks get through. But we are open. You can coordinate with Penny, can set up something to get everyone through. And then we can assign someone that can walk you through.
Yeah, I know, sorry, I forgot his name, but he talked about the gentleman with you, Mike, right?
High circle, yes.
Yeah, he said something about the build of the light's gonna be 3 times, because the new Bassett has high school. I know
Yep.
it's obviously that everything's gonna be high, but I don't like when when it's about the students and they say about the money. I don't like that because when it's about the present, the future, the money, we don't even be complaining about that. So I understand the bill's gonna be high. Not only that, like everything's gonna come high, but when it's about students and it's the future, like a new Bastion High School, let's be a little more positive, because whatever money we spend is for the future for our kids. And I know not only Bastion High School, I feel that all Bridgeport Public School deserve, nice school. And I know little by little, nothing's gonna be done one day to other. I know they take time. And you and your team do an amazing job. So I cannot complain about that.
I mean, well, our number one job is to make sure we keep you, the board, informed of what is to come. We did have a tough budget season. And we just want to make sure everyone is aware that we may be having to make this money up at one point or another in this year. So if we don't talk about it and get it out, then we're going to be, we're not good stewards to the information that we uncover as we work through these things.
But now that we have a new Basing High School, and I hope it's no issue, but always something's a little surprise because nothing is forever, nothing is perfect. So the elevators and the AC, they're working very well. If something happened, will you be able to fix that thing right away? Just in case you. I mean, I
You're
want to
asking
ask
me
that
some
question.
questions that are kind of, making me want to respond. So, all right.
I'm
Year
just saying
one-
because then
year
I'm
one-
just saying, Mr. Garcia, because of the new school, $129
Yeah,
million,
no, I hear you.
it's hard.
I hear you. I mean, when you're talking about a facility with tens of thousands of mechanical parts, something's gonna go wrong.
Yeah,
With
of
that
course.
said, we have 1 year warranties on most of our mechanical equipment. It doesn't cover everything, but it covers a good portion if something fails. With that said, the recommendation for new buildings, especially a building of this size, is that we hire a new HVAC technician and electrician that would manage that building for the first 5 years. We have 3 HVAC technicians for the entire district. So as you can imagine, it's a daunting task for us to be able to manage things on a daily basis to the level we'd like to. With that said, we have the very finest technicians and craftsmen on staff, and we're going to do everything in our power to maintain that building to the highest standard that we possibly can. Will it be hiccups? Without a doubt. Will we handle them? Without question.
No, I know. I understand. That's why I want to be sure. I don't want after 2 or 3 months something happened to New Basing High School. I'm like, what? We just open it. But for finally, the only thing I can say is, Mr. Garcia, thank you for everything. Thank you for everything. You, Mr. PJ, and Dr. Avery and your team, they do an amazing job. I cannot complain about that. From the day one you was there, I know it was not easy. You went through a lot. Your team went through a lot, and I know that your employees sometimes they are like octopus. When they doing something here, they're doing something in different school, and people they don't see that how far and how hard you guys work to be sure our school are very in good condition. Sometimes I know I see your employee taking a break and they're working at the same time because they want to have the job done because they have one employee of yours they doing 3 or 4 times, a job of somebody, and I know you're short of staff, and that's worst. And I respect that, and I'm telling you, from the day one, I say, thank you for everything, and your staff are doing amazing job, and thank God you with us because without you and your team, I don't know what Bridgeport will be doing. So I really appreciate that everything you guys do.
And I want to express some gratitude to the leadership of Dr. Avery. We had a stable opening of school. We had a stable summer. We didn't have any distractions. We got to focus. And when we focus, there's not much we can't accomplish. There's going to be some hardships this year. It's just a fact because of the staffing levels. There's no way that we're going to be able to maintain this district to the level that we want to. But with that said, you have dedicated people to give you 110 every day. But stable leadership has been a blessing to us to be able to accomplish everything we did this summer.
I agree with you, and then always I say, with a good communication, respect, so great, successful. And I'm very proud of all of you, everything you do for Bridgeport Public School.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No more questions.
Mr. Woodson?
No question, just a comment. I just wanna thank Mr. Garcia for going me on a tour through the 4 schools, Tisdale, High Horizons, Multicultural, and Skane. I wanted to say that the buildings look amazing. From the summer when I had originally seen, some of the buildings to what it was brought to, it looked excellent. I want to thank the staff on the first day, smooth first day. Everything that was accomplished because of them. So I just want to thank them for an amazing job, and the schools look wonderful. The only thing that I didn't hear was the thing for Tisdale. They had a little issue with their ceiling in their calf.
Yep, so we're working through that now. We've reached out to the solar vendor. We're waiting to hear back. They've got to remove, I think, 6, 7 panels for us to get to that area. Once that repair is made, the vendor will have to put those panels back, and then we will do the repair to that area in the ceiling in the cafeteria.
Okay, thank you. Very job well done to the staff.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson.
Mrs. Colvin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'm gonna take a different track a little bit, focus a bit on the finances again. Mr. Garcia, thank you for all your hard work, and Mr. Zirkle and the rest of your team. I forget the other lady's name. I apologize.
Amy.
That's there to see. Thank you. I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, you guys did phenomenal work. I'd first like to thank you for the BASIC and the decommissioning. As you know, I was part of the board back right after when the Harding stuff was hitting the ground, and we instituted the whole thing, and then you guys took over and you guys took the reins. You did an excellent job. Thank you. I'd also like to thank you for pointing out I think it was about $300,000 in additional operating costs for the new BASIC. That's very important to point out.
Just in one
Just that
vertical.
one piece. Correct. Yes. Thank you. And you mentioned the cost of the filters, which is also going to include increased staffing costs to change those filters that didn't exist before, above and over the 24-25 budget. So it's important that you guys keep highlighting it and you guys feel empowered to bring it to us, these additional costs, because what's going to happen is there's going to be an additional, say, let's just make a quick guesstimate of $400,000 in unanticipated costs that we're going to have for next year. So our ask in the budget would need to be have to be $400,000 more to cover those costs. So please continue to bring those up, even if you feel pressure elsewhere, because as you know, your department has been decimated. And Ms. Benhan says our schools deserve the very best when it comes to money. While we shouldn't complain about spending the money, we do have to advocate for the money. So we do have to know that money is necessary in the district. That being said about that, as far as the geothermal portion of BASIC, I was under the impression, and I think a lot of people were as well in the community, that was going to be a cost savings measure on NG expenses.
Right now, the thermal loop is not complete. They're working right now. I believe they've reached the University of Bridgeport campus, so they're working on the campus. On the construction end of it, all of the connections are there and ready for when they're done getting the plumbing over to that area. And we won't know until we fire it up, because even with the utility costs for the new BASIC, I'll get trend data through construction, but it's very different once you start to occupy the building. And I think there will be some savings with the thermal loop, but and so I see that thing working, and it's not going to be much. I just don't know, us being at the far end of the loop, if they're going to be able to supply us enough hot water to be able to make a major impact in terms of savings.
Right, and I'm hearing a couple of things also with the green energy. Yeah, it's nice to be environmentally friendly, but it sounds like it's creating particularly challenge. You just mentioned Mr. Woodson asked about one of the schools. I can't remember which one it was. and then
Tisdale
you-
School is a roof leak, that's underneath the solar panels. Yeah,
So we
there's
got
challenges.
because we went green, we got to do an additional step for a simple, basically what amounts to a simple repair, and it increases our costs as well, and basically puts no additional resources in the classroom and actually detracts from them. And
Yeah.
that's just the point I want to make there. And the last thing, what was I gonna say? The playground at JFK. Did you
Yes.
say we had an SRO guarding the playground for the time it took to cure?
Yeah, or PD, well, I don't believe it was SR, I think it was PD, that, will have to man a good portion of the time there, so, for instance, at Marin, the PD was out there from, I believe, 5 to 9 o'clock, because we need curing time on those, so if you can imagine, if it's like concrete and someone runs through it, those are not easy repairs. And
Right,
those
yeah.
those rubberized floors are pricey, but the safety is second to none. So
I absolutely agree with the need for somebody to be there, but who's paying for these police officers? And police officers cost much more than our security guard, especially when we're talking about overtime hours.
I
Who's
believe that's the
deciding
police.
who gets manned there?
I believe that's the police department. We haven't
Oh,
seen any bills come across, and typically they would send us a bill if it was on our tab. So we haven't seen anything. We don't anticipate any bill for that. But we've been working closely in stewardship with them also. So we have a good working relationship.
Right. Dr. Avery, I see you online. If we do get a bill from the police department for any of this, can you please bring it to the attention of the board?
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you. All right,
No
that's
bill
all I
yet.
have. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. That's all the questions I have for now.
Thank you.
Mr. Medina?
Thanks, guys. God bless you again, all. You answered some of my questions already, but I just wanted to maybe I'll touch up on certain things. I got a whole list here as we're going to. So when it comes to the playground, you had definitely spoken about Dunbar. And you said that because one of the questions that I had was, is there any money for those emergency kind of like things that maybe was, missed by oversight or whatever it might be. So I know Dunbar is a huge, and I think you said either somebody went or they're going there tomorrow. I would love to continue to get an update of that because it is a very dangerous situation there. That was one of my schools that I had to go visit with Mr. PJ Carafa, and we saw it hands on, and it's just very dangerous. I mean, I don't know if those things can be patched up or not, but it's just something that I think as a district, I think we already highlighted, but I just want to highlight it again, that Dunbar is at a huge, safety issue.
Yeah, in Dunbar, just to touch on that briefly, we've tried several times through the low performance school grants, so LPS. That was slated for LPS 3. I haven't heard anything. LPS, the grants were sort of on the clock for us. So we thought we should have had that money pre-summer for Dunbar. But we made a shift. There's a new grant opportunity. We jumped on it, we got awarded, and now it's just a matter of us finalizing the details.
Yeah, sounds great. I definitely heard about the report about Curiel, and I got your answers, and you said it's, the project is 95%, completed. Was there a problem outside? Was that scheduled to be completed prior to school starting? Because I thought that's what we were, that was in the plans to have that project completed.
Yeah, our plan was September. We knew we were gonna land into the first few weeks of school. We actually gained a couple days on that project. But like anything, something comes up. There was an RFI that went out on some electrical connections that needed to be answered. That took a couple of days, but we're in striking distance of our original schedule. So, on budget, on schedule, just about everything that we did this summer, thank God, knock on wood.
Okay, now you actually cover my next question by saying those statements. So I'm going to say it, but I think you just covered it. I just wanted to know about the gym at Central being at 75 to 80%, according to your statement earlier.
Yep.
Was that still, is that still being on track of your original schedule? And you just said that everything is working at that thing, so I'm good with that. Um, uh, I appreciate you stating, like Mr. Sakalovic said, about the whole basic. I have it here. My notes, cost increase, and you know, to keep it at the forefront of conversation, because you know, my question is, was that not in the planning when, you know, was that not in the statements and the planning when basic was being constructed, that we knew and that was informed? And you know that I'm new to the board in that sense of a year and a half, but this project has been under works between 7 to 5 years in the past. You know, was that not in discussion prior to, you know, let's say now that we have it, the building open?
So to touch on that, we get trend data that says, you know, you're gonna potentially expend X in kilowatt hours or what have you. With that said, there were a lot of different dynamics in this program. I didn't get that till very late, so it was after the budget cycle. I don't like to go with unchecked facts to the board, because I think it's important that, you know, we torture test our data to ensure that the message we're giving to you is accurate. But you know, we received that data after the budget cycle, so it was not valuable to bring it up because we didn't have true data. But you know, now we know Mike's run his numbers, and you know, we're here now.
Definitely appreciate that. Now you mentioned about the pool at JFK campus. Is that already being in use at this very time?
It's open and ready. I'm not sure if the schools have used it yet. You know, I know that the Parks Department has been eagerly waiting the opening so they can do their swim lessons and some of the trainings that they need for lifeguards. And then, you know, eventually the PD will rent it out also for some of their regulatory stuff that they need to do with the Harbor Patrol. So, you know, if it's not currently in use, it's going to be in use in a very, very near future. But it's ready to go.
Great. Last thing, I believe according to my notes here, Basic, old Basic. I definitely have a group of graduates that I've been, you know, speaking with Dr. Avery and everybody that can, you know, facilitate this. And I think I sent an email to you also in the team. I definitely have a few graduating classes that just had a reunion, that they would like to tour the old Basic and the new Basic before. I know you spoke about items that might be up for sale and everything. Can we get that list and to know that we can maybe contact some of our connections? You spoke about the decommissioning of the building. I don't, you know, decommissioning is a big word, has a lot of multiple meanings and things. I want to make sure that I'm clear, my role as a board member and us as a board. Before we return this property over to the city, the board needs to approve whether we're going to be using this building for educational purposes or not. And then we're going to be sending it back to the city, correct?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I just want to make it very clear. This building is a old steam building. The heating plant right now is ready for failure. To replace that heating plant, you're talking millions of dollars. You have some environmental concerns in the building based on the vintage. You know, it doesn't make sense for us as a district to carry that. The cost would be extravagant just to get the boiler plant. You know, you're talking about capital expenditure to the tune of somewhere in the $3 to $5 million range. By the time we're able to execute capital, repair the boiler plant, and then cross our fingers that the plumbing is solid once we fire up the boilers, to us it just doesn't make any sense. But in terms of decommissioning and getting the folks that have spent a good portion of their time in high school through that building, Jamie's going to be working closely with Dr. Earl. We have a meeting set up for Friday. We will be discussing that. You know, so we look excited. We're excited at the prospect of going from the old to the new, and you know, we're happy for the Basic folks to finally, you know, get their due and be that final high school that's been completed.
Oh, that high school's already running and complete. I just don't like not having a plan and being able to discuss, because I haven't heard any discussions with the board members in the decision whether what that building could be looking like or not, whether it's directly for regular ed, but I'm just visioning on what we're dealing with adult education. So I know there's two buildings within that campus, and I know there's old and a new. So I want to, we need to, before we give up something that we can never gain back, and I'm talking about property and the size of that property, I really want to have those candid discussions on what's the possibility and what is out there to renovate those buildings as new or not, and use it for possibly even adult education, knowing that we have a building in Kasuth Street. We're also using Central High School. But if we can do an adult education center there in that space, I mean, I welcome the conversations of people to say that's impossible, or listen, that's a great point. So I'm welcoming all conversations, but I definitely been thinking about that as a whole, because I'm, feeling some kind of way that we're not being discussed. No discussion has been made about how we're transferring this building over and the space. It's got to be bigger discussions, and I'm responsible for that. So if I don't do it, then I'm going to be irresponsible, and I don't want to do that. So that's the things that I want to put out there to everybody's ear, and understanding that I don't want to return anything to the city until we really decide and cross our T's and dot our I's for possible use of either one of those buildings or not, or what it is. So just to let you know that, that's my conversation that I will be having further concerning the old Bassick building. But main thing is, I'd like to have this tour done. So I hope nothing's going to be done until we can get some of these people that want to tour this building, because it means that much to the community, to the Bassick community. My wife graduated from Bassick. My older brother graduated from Bassick. And I want to have that opportunity for the community that wants to do this, to have it walk through and have an organized event. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Dr. Amy, did you have to respond to something? Saw your hand go up.
I was just going to extend, a thank you to Mr. Garcia and his staff. I mean, they've done an amazing job, as you could see. And again, one of the added bonus for his division is to add value to what we do on the educational side, on the academic side. So it's a two-pronged, approach to this, to making sure the district is running and running effectively. So again, I want to thank you and your staff, George. Always, when we need them, they're out there making it happen for us. So again, I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Dr.
Mr. Benningham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Garcia, I have 3 questions for you. I know you can answer very fast. I see you have nutrition center roof. The nutrition center roof, sorry, it was not fixed like a year ago, 2 years ago?
No, when we first discussed getting it onto the school building committee, when they redid the new proposals, the project was short $700,000. We had to go back to the council. The council approved the $700,000 in this last capital allocation. So now that the money will shortly be in the bank, we'll be able to kick that project off. The good thing is, it's unlike a school. It's unlike doing the rooftop in a school where we have to have the building empty and do it over the summer. We can do that once the funding is in place.
Thank you. And I know one of the playground, and I believe is Bryant School. Do you check the Bryant School, the playground? It was very dangerous. I know they really closed it. They don't want students use it.
Yep. So the Bryant School Playground is another one of those schools that we've gotten the grant for. So right now, they did the site visit of Bryant. They're going to be developing those plans. We'll review those plans. If we accept the plans, we're able to have some residual capital funding to be able to meet the match of that. So yes, that is in progress. And as that develops, we'll be bringing this back to you. I'm hoping that it moves fast enough that we can bring all of the playgrounds to you in one meeting, get them approved, so we can start to plan out those projects.
Thank you. And what is the story about the black the pool? What's going on? Did they be still closed? They're gonna fix it? What's going on with the store?
It's closed, decommissioned. There's really no way for us. We want to have the wherewithal to bring that back, but there is an outside donor I'll be meeting with. Maybe we can create some magic together and bring that back. I know that folks feel deeply about that pool. If not, we'll have to look at that when we do the renovation.
I'm asking you this because I know I had a conversation last week with one of the state rep, and I believe he's gonna contact you because he would like to find the grant for you fix that pole. You know, it's not gonna be, you know, cheap, but he's anything about students, he's there for it. So I will email you his contact. You can contact him.
I will. We're all in on any conversations to close the gap.
Yes, sir. And question, the last question, we finished, like Mr. Medina talking about the Bassett High School, when we done with all Bassett High School, that belong to the city, right? The city, they will do whatever they want. They don't belong to the BOE, right? After we give it to them.
Oh. Once we do the transmittal back to the city, they do whatever they need to do with the building. Once again, there's one boiler plant for both buildings. It's outdated. There's a lot of question marks in that building. But we can have that conversation. We're open to it. I know we've discussed it a couple times in committee about the condition of the building over the last 3 years. Part of the decommissioning is having the conversation with the board about the transmission back to the city. So as we start to get through the list of things that need to happen for decommissioning based on the plan, we'll get there and have that conversation with the board.
All right, thank you, Mr. Garcia. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Medina,
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me put my hand down. Real quickly on Walterville, you mentioned both Walterville and Barnum elevators are out of commission at this moment.
Yes.
Okay. Did that incident that you mentioned, I think you mentioned something about the fire department being there and there was an issue and they, kind of like went haywire or whatever. It was never fixed from that date?
No, because we have to replace the doors. The doors are the hardest item to get. The vintage of elevators, 13-year-old elevators, the industry has changed. The method, I believe hydraulic versus whatever has changed. And we're just caught in the middle of this whole elevator thing. But with that said, we're meeting with the manufacturer, the group that we utilize for our elevators. And we're gonna put a little heat on them to start to get these things completed. But there is a national issue and everyone's feeling the pain throughout the US right now in terms of elevators because we have to get the parts from another country into the US now. So that makes it a lot more difficult with tariffs, with everything else that's going on in the world. But we're gonna hold people's feet to the fire on this one. You have my word on that.
Not a problem. I'm going to end that conversation. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that. Thank you. I know there's a lot of shipping issues that I know because even in my work and all that stuff, but I was led to believe something else, but we'll touch on that stuff later. Thank you very much.
There were multiple issues. I want to say that also. There were multiple issues on some of those elevators. So something might have been repaired and then something else happened. We're at the mercy of the parts.
there are no other questions. Thank you for coming in and
Thank you.
with us. I appreciate all the work you've done. We look forward to more updates. Next item on the agenda is update on the plan for Bridgeport Military Academy.
Through the chair, thank you, ma'am. I just kind of want to make sure I give the board an update on the BMA relocation and transition project. We, as you know, we started the school year with one grade level of BMA to phase into the new Bassett. One of the requirements for Bassett is that we had BMA students in the school. There's been an issue because of the building not being at capacity to where we could fit all 4 grade levels into to the Bassett. So we chose to put one grade level in there, which is the 12th grade. So we have about 63 students from BMA that's currently in the new Bassett. The other 215 underclassmen, that's 9th grade through 11th grade, will remain at the current location of BMA. We're looking for that to hold for a couple months now between October and November, and George and PJ can kind of give you a little bit more detail behind why we're at that standstill, because we do have the winter project starting, and we might be able to delay it a little bit, but according to George, we're on a very, very tight schedule to get that underway. Now we had a couple of different scenarios over the last 3 to 4 months as to where we were going to place, the remaining underclassmen for BMA. We had a building at the UB campus right before school started. We had a shift in that particular location at the Dana Center there, which is a couple of buildings close to the new Bassick. The George went in and did a preliminary facility assessment, but then again, UB also went in and did another intensive facility assessment, and we found out that based on that initial the official facility assessment, that there were some zoning issues with that particular building, and that we would not be able to kind of relocate our kids there until some zoning issues were completed. So again, we shifted again and looking at other options throughout the district. One of those options was the Fairchild Wheeler, option was to be able to relocate, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade to the Fairchild Wheeler process. Working with the state, there was a couple of, hiccups there. So we couldn't really fully, vet out that particular option as well. Due to the fact that at one point in time, BMA was at the Fairchild Wheeler campus, then they were moved to their own individual campuses where they exist right now, and due to the fact that Fairchild Wheeler is a intra-district magnet, the state had to petition and figure out through the grants department on being able to get BMA back into the building. So we're in the process right now of working with the state and working with some of our delegates regarding the possibility of getting them there in a temporary fashion. But that option is still, on hold as well. The third option is after the assessment, done by UB has given us another facility at the UB campus for us to assess to see if we were going to be able to put the 9th, 10th, 11th grade there as well. We would like to try to keep BMA as much as possible close together as we possibly can. And so those are the obstacles that we've been dealing with, and every day is a new day when it comes to logistically trying to get a facility that's going to be right fitted to house kids. There's a difference between college age students in a building and high school students in a building. The codes are different, so we have to kind of maneuver through all those different obstacles. And again, the biggest thing that as the interim school superintendent having to take over this whole project is that when they built or when they decided to merge the two buildings together, there's no way they were going to be able to fit all those kids in that facility, in the new Bassick is what I'm saying. And part of the requirement is that if we do not have BMA kids in the new Bassick, the city would have to reimburse the state back millions of dollars that we nor the Board of Ed nor the city has the ability to pay back. So that's kind of why we're in the holding pattern that we're in right now, due to the fact that we don't have a lot of options. And so we've been working this whole deal, PJ, we're talking about maybe 8-9 months now. Since I started started back in November, we've been, figuring out what options we can use and have to the best of our ability to try to make this thing work. We have one pathway we were going, and we were going pretty nicely and getting it done, 3 or 4 months, and boom, all of a sudden we have to detour to a different location. So again, that's been the process over the last couple of months. And right now we're holding at 12th graders at the new Bassick, 9, 10, 11th grade, currently at the present BMA holding there until October, November. And then in the interim, my team, George, PJ, Tony, myself, the state technical assistance team, we're having to figure out how we're going to and where we're going to land. And I do have to commend Commander Lip and his staff. They've been very, very, accommodating to the shifting and the unknown and being able to understand and how that's how it's gonna all fall out. So and I know board, you haven't had a whole lot of detailed explanation on what's going on, but we tried to kind of navigate the best we can, and that's kind of where we are right now. So PJ and George, if you want to add anything to that, you feel free to do that as well.
I mean, I can touch briefly on, in terms of the UB properties, there's a different zoning like superintendent touched on. So, whenever you shift from higher ed to K-8, you have to make the modifications based on a current code, and that's what was the hindrance. So we pivoted again. Right now, I'm working with construction services. We're looking at the schedule of the Winthrop program. We're supposed to have a shovel in the ground in the early spring, which creates the need for us to get out of the building in the Christmas vacation. With that said, we've looked at the schedule. I spent some time trying to push the schedule back. I'm short about 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So right now, what I've got to do is work with construction services to see what the costs of mobilization or remobilization on the project will be. If it's a few $1,000s, then it's not a big deal. But if it's more than that, it's a bigger discussion. So, there are opportunities that we're looking at. But with that said, we're still working through this whole entire process because this is not an easy feat for us to put together.
Great. Mr. Benaham?
I don't know, you want to time out Mr. P? I know he want to say something, Madam Chair, before me.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
good evening. Really quick, yeah. Some of the issue is that we've had about 4 superintendents who have been involved in this project. And what usually happens is when Bassick originally came on, they had about 800 students that were going to Bassick, okay? BMA at that point was somewhere around 240, 50 maybe tops. So if you put that together, it's about 1,050. Part of the ed spec was, the ed spec is basically the educational specs that go along with the building. When the building's being built, there's some specs that are designed that we have to follow. Those ed specs, because of these, our 3 or 4 different superintendents, have been opened up approximately 5 times. When we went back again to talk to the state about taking BMA out of the mix again, because we realized that BMA was up to about 329 students at that time, they would not allow us to make any adjustments because the ed spec was opened up 4 times already. Right now, looking at the numbers, without BMA, Bassick High School is at the highest that they've ever been at 1,150 students right now. It's 1,150 students. Those 1,150, the ed spec says that they have capacity only for 1,250. So right now, we have approximately 61 to 66 students who are BMA students, who are 12th graders that are in the school now. But we also have to have what's called a safety and efficiency factor that's built in. You cannot have the capacity at the school when you're building. That's at 0.85. So it's 85% of the enrollment that's there. When you really look at that now, if I add up the 2 schools, we're at about 1,430 children that would, in a sense, have to go into the new Bassick High School. So with Dr. Avery, George, myself, we've been looking at solutions to this problem. One thing is with the demographic study, facilities master plan, it goes to show that the projections show that our high school within the next 5 years are only going to grow. So they're going to grow right now, and we don't really have space in other high schools to put the second half or the 9th, 10th, and 11th grade BMA students. One of the things we've tried to do is we've tried to speak to the state and the state magnet portion of programming. Into that, we brought in the technical assistance team, Dr. Avery, myself, and we've tried to get in there to get a waiver, just like at the same point where Superintendent Testani during the COVID years was able to get 200 students, Bridgeport students, into Fairchild Wheeler. Right now, we are having a problem with the state because they wanted paperwork filled out and all kinds of other things. And we did that. That was part of going through the legislative session. By the time the legislative session got by, we were already looking at UB campus in a building that was proposed to us before George had got in there to take a look with his team. And that building at the UB campus could facilitate those 17 classrooms that we needed of BMA students. Obviously, once the studies got completed, we found that that was no longer going to be an area that we were going to be able to use based on what George just spoke about. And we had to go back to Fairchild Wheeler temporarily so that we can house our children, our BMA children, the 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, so that they could obviously finish school inside of that building, since the BMA school will be needed to be utilized by Winthrop School. Now, George will speak to this. Part of the Winthrop plan when the school was being built is to keep all of the students together. Since we don't have a swing space, we don't have any extra schools where we can put almost 600 children. The only school right now available for that is the BMA campus or the South End campus that used to be the swing space. George, you may want to speak on that.
So the original intent of the South End School was swing space so we can continue to construct buildings and do what we have to do, have a fallover place if there was an emergency. We talk about that a lot in terms of what happens if there's an emergency. That was the intent of that building. So in order to lock in the grant for Winthrop, we had to ensure that we were going to be able to shift those students into the swing space and keep them together. All of these other nuances of the BMA Bassett came after those conversations. But once again, the shift in leadership, you know, it creates a lot of gaps in things and the ideology of what folks like to see. And here we are. We're working daily on trying to find a solution. And we will find a solution at one point or another. We just need a little bit more time.
Mr. Benninger?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know the situation is not coming from Dr. Avery and you guys because it's coming, as you said, Mr. PJ, it's coming from the former superintendent of school. I'm very glad for the record that I was the only person saying no when they try to put BMA and Bassett together. Why? Because the reason you just said just now, Mr. PJ, exactly as you're saying, and is the minute. People, when they new school, the number's gonna go up. The people living around, they're gonna say, this is my school. And people living in the east side and the west side, they're gonna move in that side because they say, oh, I wanna be in a new Bassett High School. Exactly what happened right now, you know? And it's an issue. It's very easy that the state, we want this, we want that, we want you to do this, but they're not here or sitting down with you and figure out how to, you know, resolve all these problems. Because they stay back, they say, oh, let Bridgeport handle, let Dr. Avery, PJ, George, and everybody handle the problem. We will just one day have to do what we want. That's not the way they work. Because exactly, us, the one we hire here in Bridgeport, we have to deal with that. And not with that, with the parents. Because you really gotta know how the parents feel that
Mhm.
BMA and Bassett, they are in the same school. So now, like you said, that Mr. PJ, it's 1150 students, and the passment is 1250. You have only 61 in Bassett High School, right?
Yes, 61 12th graders, yeah, from BMA.
Yeah. So the rest of the student, okay, they stay in the BMA until UB and you guys fix that situation. So have 17 classroom over there. If they're gonna be doing that at UB, I just want to know how much they're gonna cost just in case they go to UB. Who's running the policy and everything? When the student for BMA be in UB, and they will have a space for the student for BMA do the training, lunch, all the activity they do because BMA they do early in the morning. I believe 7:15. Correct me if I'm wrong. They do a lot of things in the morning before the school start. Are they gonna have that space to do that? So there's a lot of question because it's easy the state say, oh, we want you to put the students there and period, or the city have to pay back. But they don't see now the consequence why he started running back and forth. Because I'm with my parents. They're not happy. I'm not happy for the day one. From the day one, I'm not happy with that. And I know Dr. Rayota gonna take care of the way that it is. Commander Lip too, and everyone we gonna do. But the big issue here is the state. We want this, but they don't come and see by his own eyes and sit down with you guys and not only see him by paper or by email, walk around the school and see the difference between BMA and Basing High School. Two great school, amazing principals and staff, but BMA has things to do early in the morning, like at 7 o'clock in the morning or 7:15. And correct me if I'm wrong, PJ, before Basing High School starts 7:53.
Yeah, and Mr. Benham, I can address that issue. And one of the things you got to understand is that our job is to make sure that both campuses are going to get the ideal treatment that they need to get. There's academic programming, there's cafeteria, there's facilities where they need to get changed and they need walking spaces to be able to do their drills and things. So all those things are being considered as we look at a space for them. Anywhere they go, they're going to have that. And so we're looking at every single option, every single ability to give them what they need fully, full-fledged. And we don't know the cost of anything yet because we're still working out where that's going to be. So as we work through the spaces that we're considering, we're going to work out the agreements that need to be worked out. All those things have to come back to the board for approval and consideration. So again, right now, our biggest thing for the last month is to get school started and get to have the kids in a place that they can start school, and that was a focus. And that's what we've done. We've had a very successful start of school. And now we're juggling, trying to get, where we're going to go, how we're going to do. So, please give us a little grace to try to make through and give some options, and we'll bring those options to the board for consideration moving forward. So for sure, it's a challenging thing for myself. I've had a couple of meetings with other board members about BMA and what we're going to do, and I'm talking about magnet grants and how do we get additional dollars to be able to do things. I mean, there's a lot of different options that we're going to consider and try to make come to life as well. So we will kind of keep you guys abreast of what's happening, and we'll go through the facilities committee. We'll come back every single month to make sure that you guys have, ample, opportunities to have some discussions of this as well. And as we move this thing forward with you guys.
I understand that, I'm not saying everything you say is not true, but it's very easy. You see that piece of paper? It's very flat. If you go like this, like that, right? That's the way the state give it to us. So now us, the board, and you and the equipment, we have to be sure it's flat so we can fix the problem because the state, they say, we want this, we want that. But like I say, they don't come here to see the fact that we have to go deal with, They know because they really know. I really spoke to them and they really know. And I tell them, what is the point? You want to push something. It's like a use size 8 of shoes, but they want you to put a size 6 of shoes. When's it going to be tight? And who's going to have the pain? Whoever used that shoe size says us right now. Who's going to suffer? Our students. And one of the point is my parents. They need to start have the meeting with the parents for BMA and let them know what's going on. I know it's going to be another plan and stuff like that for BMA, but right now the state, they don't see the consequence that we have to run. We had to listen. We had to do it. We had to move a lot of things to be sure our student, our safety, and parent and staff. You know, that's my concerns, you know, stuff like that. It's very easy to appoint, but if they don't come to you, sit down, let me talk, let me see, let me walk around all the school, let me see what the Bassett High School doing and what BMA do. You know, because I'm a witness. I know what they do. And I know you and your team, they're doing the best they can to be sure everything is fit. And thank you for that. But it's not fair that we have so many things to do for the 10 months you're here. You're trying to fix so many things to have something else and add something else that we're going to be behind. We're trying to be on top. But I know sometimes we have to push a little back because we have to fix it. Who's priority? Who's first? Who comes first? You know, it's a lot. It's not easy. It's not easy what we all doing because we're here on the same page. So I'm very glad we bring that, and I hope, you know, let's keep going the best we can for BMA. You know, I know we can do it. I know you can do it.
Thanks, sir. And I appreciate that. I think that's important. I mean, and I do want to, you know, I'd be remiss if I did not say, you know, when you look at and experience the meeting that I experienced today, you know, with the State Board of Education, and none of my staff have got acknowledged for doing anything. Everything was done by the state, and that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. You know, so again, I appreciate
They're not
being
here.
acknowledged.
They're not here to sit down with you. They're not here with everyone. They're not here with George, with PJ, with board members, with anybody to send to listen to us. You know, it's very easy to appoint, send you an email. I want you to do this, but come down and sit down because everybody know Connecticut, Bridgeport is the most city we have so many kids. So it's easy. And you know, but us here, we know your team do an amazing job. And that's what I'm here for. To let them know what you and the team are doing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Woodson?
Yes. One question. Is Central full to capacity?
Close
Yes.
to it right now. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to put in 215 more students.
Because to me, it sounds like the issue is the money that we would have to pay if we took these kids out of Bassick. So either we find a way to get all of these kids inside of Bassick, or we're going to be paying millions of dollars.
So Mr. Woodson, it doesn't say in the ed spec how many kids have to be in Bassick from BMA. It just says we have to have BMA children inside of Bassick.
Okay. Okay, so how long before we know if we're able to use the facility that the new facility that UB is proposing?
I think it's going to be at least another 6 months. You know, we're trying to do as quickly as we possibly can. We are actually going to be going and hopefully putting our eyes on the new facility at the campus, you know, early next week. And hopefully being able to at least have a transitional time as we work through, you know, the Dana Center, you know, coding issue. So again, I think we have a couple of different scenarios. I have not seen the second site, and secondary, we also have the options of working with the state for the first child wheeler option as well. We're trying to keep as many options viable as we possibly can so that we don't run out of possible options. So again, I'm thinking, you know, we should have within the next month or so, we should have a better, clearer vision and pathway for where we're going to go.
Because like I said, the only thing I'm just concerned about, and I told you in the past, so just I don't I want the kids to be able, just to be able to have upperclassmen to look up to.
Yeah.
The seniors are play a big role, and the underclassmen's upperclassmen, and how they come up, their education and stuff like that. So it's just a advantage to having them around, especially in a military environment.
And you're 100% correct, and that's kind of why we really wanted to have them close to each other as possible, because the seniors still can interact with the lower classmen as well, because some of them will take classes together, right? And so you have the ability to kind of interact with those individuals. They have formations, and they still go back over after school and do some things together in their squads and things like that. So they're getting a little bit of it, but it's, you maximize that when you have them closer together, and they're able to do their formations and things early morning, the drills and things together early morning and after school. So yes, that is, and that's one of the things that we've been trying to kind of solidify, is how close can we get them that's going to be meaningful for them, in the space and the curriculum and the programs that they have, right? So that's huge for me, and I know my academic team is trying to make sure programmatically that we are able to make sure that we can provide those combination opportunities that they'll work together with the lower and upperclassmen. So that's a very, very true fact, and I think that's important for us as well as we look at finalizing something.
Yeah, I just hope that all avenues are pursued, whether it be moving kids around to other sides of town, or just so that we're not in jeopardy of having to pay back the state any money for not having the kids on campus or anything like that.
Yes, absolutely.
That's my only concern. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Medina?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You guys laid out a lot here. Thank you, Dr. Avery. Again, I don't know where will you be without Mr. George Garcia and Mr. PJ Carafa. They just laid out some great work that has been done during the summer. So I apologize, George, in my remiss of my questions that I didn't mention, that this report is, is amazing to get all this data of everything that's being done during the summer, and all the work and all the thing to find a way to make sure that our campuses are open this school year, Dr. Avery. The way it opened and the way it's being done, and even on top of, touching all these things that, that still need to be worked, and put oil on, and put hands on, and work, and put boots on the ground, because we need boots on the ground to do the work. You guys have knocked it out of the park, and I've been using that statement for a long time. So again, with all these two guys in your team, and I thank you, cabinet, but also I want to make sure that we have a true lineup, from top to bottom. When you talk about baseball, you talk about a lineup, and that you continue to use your lineup, because again, we're here to meet with you guys, also to try to get brainstorm to help you guys have another input of voice. So I look forward to getting together with some of the board members to meet with you guys, with your cabinet, see where we are, because these discussions will be great to sit down on a one-on-one and shoot ideas, instead of being always, in meetings and really structure and all that stuff. But I must say that if the state is listening, which I believe they are, and I'm not sure about the number that they're looking to get refunded if we don't have Bridgeport Military Academy in that building. And this is a mess that they facilitated. They should have known this ahead of time, them being the state. But I just wonder if they, it's one thing that we got to pay them back, but pay them back money when they have over, billions of dollars in a surplus. So I'm wondering if they can step up this, the team that's here with us. And also, if we need to go to Hartford, let me know. We'll go to Hartford to their board meeting, the Connecticut State Department of Education meeting, to find out, can we get a waive this fee? That way we can manage this the right way with the team or whoever they want. But, this was something that they should have been able to manage. whether who's leaving and who's here or not, the board is here. And the board has always been here. I don't care what leadership has been as far as superintendent roles or not, but you know, you guys have been handling it. You guys been doing this work and I appreciate it. But now I want to find out from the state themselves. And again, we'll be willing to go over to the state with you to find out, can we get this thing waived? That way we can actually start doing some of the work. When you said 6 months, Dr. Avery, I kind of like took my heart skipped a beat because I'm like, wow, that's a lot of time. And I know there's a lot of dots that needs to be I's needs to be dotted and T's need to be crossed on all these contracts, but it's just like, wow, that's a lot of time. And when I'm thinking about this community, Bridgeport Military Academy, and I think Mr. Woodson was brought it up, and with Albert Benningham about the stuff that they got to do early in the morning and stuff, and that these kids deserve better. I think that we need to have a little bit more discussions in the near future, very near future, to figure out what are our true options. Mr. Garcia, you also mentioned a space that I know that we're going to need BMA space where they're at right now in Arenason Avenue because of the John Winthrop situation, but that there was another space. What's the address on that space, the other extra space?
Are you talking about the University of Bridgeport space?
No, I know that one. Is there another space that we're using for overflow for emergencies?
No, that was the intent when we purchased the BMA building. The intent was that we use it for construction, and then on the off chance or the off schedule of construction, we had an overflow facility for any emergencies.
So that
The
was the
city of Bridgeport-
Arenason Avenue.
Yeah, the city of Bridgeport we do not have that. So if there's a catastrophic emergency or issue, we've got a whole other thing to figure out.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Wonderful group, food for thought. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. I just want to say that congratulations, guys, because this opening of the school year, I think the staff, principals, administrators, custodians, security, everybody's in a way better mood and thing. And they're like, let's go. What can we do next? Let's figure it out. But again, we need to keep this rolling on how can we figure it out together, because they're having a great time opening up. And George, I think I sent you some pictures about the other situation at JFK that was handled by your team. People came out of the door and they were like, oh, you're the guy I'm waiting for. And they worked on to make sure those kids were safe right away. They didn't need to wait for the next day. And they did a great job over there. So I appreciate that teamwork. And I share with you that information too. Okay. Thank you. God bless.
Mr.
Thank you,
Woodson,
Madam Chair.
do you still have a question, Mr. Woodson? I'm gonna go, Mr. Collins.
Yeah, yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I got a couple of things. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Avery, because I was like starting to question my own sanity before he said he was watching the State Board of Education meeting and seeing them taking credit for things that we've initiated. I would like to let the staff and Dr. Avery know, and prior superintendents to know, that some of those projects that are coming to fruition now, we as a board know y'all started them. We know they started before the state got involved, and the state needs to start talking more with us than at us. Yeah, I appreciate them saving the buses, but that's a contract we are going to be beholden to, and we need to be on task with that. That being said, back to the point of this whole meeting, kind of straight a little bit. The facilities master plan, status of that, we really need to start buckle down and having some real discussions about it, because some of these problems may or may not be able to be anticipated in the future. By having a thorough discussion and a debate and going through the what if scenarios and challenge each other's thinkings on this. And as far as the problems being linked to multiple superintendents, if the board sets a plan, no matter who the superintendent is, if the board, who the state has made abundantly clear is in ultimate control of the finances and all this stuff, holds to that plan and tells the superintendent not to deviate from that plan, whoever it may be, as far as the building or whatever have you, these issues will be avoided. So that's where we as a board need to step up. So yeah, I would like to thank everybody for their hard work. Just again, let everybody know that I see you, Dr. Avery, you're doing a good job thus far. And I know I don't throw out compliments too easily, but it's well deserved. And I do see your frustrations in the state jumping on, and the state can help us out a little more, give us a recognition. That newspaper article that came out today that said we only had 36 vacancies in the districts. That's freaking awesome. And we were closing that gap little by little over time anyway. And some of those programs are just expansions of programs we already had in place.
Yep.
And I would like to give kudos to expanding those jobs. And we're lower than even what's it, West Haven?
Mhm.
No, I'm sorry, West Hartford. West Hartford has more vacancies than we do, and they're much smaller.
All right.
So yeah. Okay, thank you. I'm done. I know. Sorry.
So we're gonna keep it on topic for BMA, guys. Let's keep it on BMA.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was.
I saw two hands. Okay, Mr. Benahan, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to let you know that Mr. Garcia and Mr. PJ, when it's about talking with the people from the state, just let them know you guys are not alone. I don't want you to get all the stress and all the pressure. Let them know you have a team. You have a people that will stand with you, and we have to go over there and talk to them and let them know, or invite them, not us go over there. Invite them, come here in Bridgeport and walk around the two school. They can see what we're doing and what's the best we're doing for our children. So let them know, like I know they're watching, like Mr. Joe said, you are not alone, and you have a board that will defend you, and Mr. Garcia and Mr. PJ, that we are here together for the best for our children, staff, and parents. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any more for BMA? All right. Next item is motion to adjourn.
So move, Mr. Benahan. Have a good one, everyone. God bless you all.
Second by Mr. Woodson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting's adjourned at 7:24. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Thank
God
you.
bless you all. God bless you.